Let's also talk about these small boat migrants, because again, this is another one of those topics where there is this amazing double think. So this is a story, front page of the Sun today, where basically you've got small boat migrants arriving in this country, having paid their people smugglers. Apparently the going rate's 1,500. Isn't capitalism and the free market a wonderful thing? How that price has gone down from £5,000 down to 1,500. Bigger boats, getting people on. Basically got on average about 500 a day coming over. I don't know what the weather's like today in terms of the numbers we're going to get, but the gangs have not been smashed. The boats have not been stopped, whoever's in charge. But Channel Migrants basically in these asylum hotels, which have basically been turned into hubs for illegal working as delivery drivers. So whether it's Deliveroo, whether it's Just Eat or Uber Eats, those bikes are parked outside. An address will be registered, a telephone number, an account, and basically these apps are allowing people to register and get cleared. Yes, I've got a passport, I'm legal to work, blah, 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 and they get cleared to work. But they are allowed to effectively sort of subcontract, sublet their license to be a driver or a moped rider for these companies. And sometimes we've got 40 people in an asylum hotel working and doing this job. There is not only are we talking about what the hell are we doing funding people's accommodation and lifestyle when they're earning £1,000 a week. It's completely illegal black market working to all intents and purposes. These people are not going to be registered paying tax. They can't be. The companies must know it's going on because they can see that 40 people are working on the same license at any one time. There is a risk to customers, particularly young women who answer the door to somebody who is already a criminal, by the way. They're already a criminal because they've arrived here illegally. That's the definition. And this whole thing is an absolute outrage, and quite obvious that everyone involved knows it is. And no one's done anything.
No, absolutely, and it's just one of those many open secrets that we have where legal migration is concerned, and also where this interacts with big companies. We talk a lot about the black market, companies which are really kind of operating in the shadows, out of the view of the taxman, out of the view of the authorities and so on. These are huge, successful businesses, and they've built a business model which relies on paying people, regardless of whether they're coming illegally or not, a pittance effectively, and because of the fact that it keeps the prices down, it means more people are going to use the app, all the rest of it. So it's just a really corrupt from top to bottom kind of business model, morally if not actually sort of legally, shall we say. And now on the legal side it's been called into account. If you read this Sun expose, it took them minutes to find one of these accounts that you can just rent from someone. Why the hell, if you've got all these checks in place for someone who signs up to have that account with Deliveroo or whatever else, why would you allow them to rent it out? They know
to any Tom, Dick or Harry.
At the very least, we can say that
someone
will have alerted them to this already. So it's insane that it's taken this long for any attention to be paid.
Well, exactly. So they know it's happening, and also again, we've always got the issue about market. And people go, oh well, at least it's cheap. Sometimes you order one of these delivery companies, and it's sort of, it's delivery's only like £1.30. And it's because they've had to cut the delivery because people haven't got enough money anymore, and they're not sitting at home in lockdown and just ordering all the food. It's an incredibly expensive way of eating for good. Walk to the supermarket, you lazy sods, for goodness me. But also it massively hurts people on the lower end of the income scale. If this is basically very low paid, unskilled work. Again, you mentioned earlier, sort of jobs teenagers used to be able to do. Well, no, not anymore, because these jobs are all being taken up this way. But also, it means that people who are unable to get any other kind of jobs are having to compete with illegal workers whose entire accommodation costs are paid. Well, then you're willing to work for less, aren't you? Because you can. This is just such a scam. But the thing about this is, of course, somehow the moderate, the right-ons, the Islington dinner party people, they're not that bothered about this. Well, at least they're working. Well, they'll say to people like me, well, yeah, you had a problem with these people scamming. You say, we think they should be allowed to work. Oh, yeah. Let's make it easier for people to come here. Why don't we literally just provide a ferry service for these people and have done with it? But at the same time, not understanding the threat and the damage to ordinary working class people, the risk to any particularly young women answering the door, or elderly people answering the door to people who are already criminals, not supposed to be here. Big question marks. But one of the things, it ties into me with another story that's in the papers today about a Qatari camel herder who sexually assaulted a woman at a heart clinic. And the attack was blamed on the fact, including the court, that he had very little interaction with women in his home country of Qatar. So he didn't really know how to behave with women. The only woman he really came into contact with was his mother. Well, I don't know, does he normally drag his mother into a toilet and sexually abuse her, sexually assault her for 5 minutes until she can be rescued? I think not. This man had denied 2 counts of attempted rape, but he has been convicted of various crimes. And, you know, he'll be sent to prison for the unnecessarily short amount of time. But what I love is, when we talk about cultural differences, I'll get, you know, Ofcom complaints or, you know, other complaints. Like, when you talk about key cultural differences between people from different parts of the world and the cultures that they come from, particularly in the Middle East, countries like Pakistan, many parts of Africa, where women are not even second-class citizens. They dream of being second-class citizens. Second-class citizens are their sons. They're third or fourth-class citizens. And the attitudes to women and how they dress and how they should behave and what they are for. When we talk about that, we're racist and bigoted. When my wonderful colleague Alex Phillips talks about the reality she and many other women younger than me have to put up with on the streets of this country from men from abroad who have no respect, who follow and harass women in the street and will not take no for an answer. When these things happen, we're accused of being bigoted and xenophobic and Islamophobic and everything else. But when it's convenient in a court for this man to say, but and his lawyers, and we've seen cases of this in the last week and other cases as well, he didn't know any better because he hadn't really come across women before. So then the cultural difference is allowed to be used as a defence.
No, it's complete.
And that's always the case. And people are allowed to... So today it's a defence, tomorrow it's bigotry, whichever it is.
No, at the very least you could pick one, I suppose. I don't know how anyone can continue to maintain the position that our system is just fundamentally broken. And you were talking there earlier about the people who... you know, shall we say, the kind of do-gooders on this issue.
Yeah.
What I think has become abundantly clear is if you want an immigration policy or an asylum policy which is humane, works for everyone involved, it has to be sane. It can't be out of control.
Sane would be a bare minimum.
Asylum cannot become a route for illegal migration. If you, as many people, you know, in the kind of North London dinner party set, to use that old cliche, say, well, they should be allowed to work. Well, that's a much easier proposition when it's not just become a funnel for illegal migration, when it's much more selective, when it's much more able to root out people who are here for the wrong reasons, who have previous convictions, and so on and so forth. So I just think it serves absolutely no one, the status quo, certainly not the people who are finding themselves victimised by someone who probably had a string of convictions in the other countries.
Well, exactly. Can I just say, what I can't work out is why on earth a 27-year-old Qatari camel herder was in the UK for heart treatment. What's going on? What on earth is going on? It's utterly bizarre. But there we are. I do want to hear from you. But that story, the Channel migrants working as Deliveroo and Uber Eats delivery drivers within hours of arriving. Give us a call on that as well. 0344 499 1000 is the number to call. Lots of texts and tweets coming. We'll get to those up next. First up, though, the reunion of the century is just around the corner, and we're giving you a chance to win a pair of, yes, Oasis tickets in Manchester on July the 19th. You heard that right. Oasis Live 25 is sold out, but talk can get you in. That's not all, though. Alongside the tickets, we'll put you up for a night in a hotel and put £5,000 in your back pocket, completely tax-free. Listen up right now for everything you need to know and how to enter. Genuinely, this happened yesterday as well. For some reason, we can't play this competition. I think it's in the adverts on the radio, if not on the TV side of things, the visual side of things. But there is a competition. We'd love you to enter it and hopefully win. And by the way, can you take me along as the second person? You can keep the 5K.